Steve Bannon, the former Trump advisor, probably current Trump advisor, with the white supremacy, would you call him, Jack Posobiec? Very sort of, very excited about whiteness. Also, that guy seems to have straightened up his life after he was found on Bumble cheating on his partner.
I wonder how that FBI investigation into who was impersonating him on Bumble.
Yeah, that was weird. I never heard it. I never got an update on that.
The deep state is not going to look into it.
It's probably Fauci.
You should also say, this is the guy, I guess, that Cernovich hired to go through my tweets back in the day and get me fired. That didn't work out.
Thanks for that.
But now he's wearing a sport coat. And he's with Steve Bannon, and they are talking about Nikki Haley's run, essentially, for vice president. And here is Steve Bannon.
Forget Republican and Democrat. Those are, if you're thinking in those terms, you're thinking of old politics. This is populist nationalism versus elite globalism. And if you see Republicans that are not in our camp, they're by and large elite globalists. The Mitt Romneys of the world, the people in the Senate, right? The
Nikki
Kevin McCarthy,
Haley.
neocon Nikki, neoliberal
Barbie.
No. Listen, Nikki Haley's biggest donors right now are some of the most radical anti-Trump Democrats.
What did you think?
Reid Hoffman.
What did you think when Jamie Dimon came out at the New York Times summit?
She'd be a great president.
And said she'd be a great president, and we've all got to back her.
One of the fights we're going to have, a big fight, will take place in the spring, will be they're going to try to force Nikki on the ticket. They say Trump needs a woman, Nikki on the ticket. She balances things, and she can bring together that 15% of never-Trumpers in the Republican Party. We're going to have that fight. If Nikki Haley is in this administration in any capacity, it will fail. Well, she's a viper. She's a viper, and once she gets in there, she'll try to run it as prime minister. She'll try to be Dick Cheney. Her to Trump will be just like Dick Cheney to Bush. That's what she'll try to do.
Steve, I have to ask you, because Richard Barris issued a warning about this, a very specific warning, and he went even further. Barris's warning was this. He said, you put her in as vice president, and they will find someone to Lee Harvey Oswald Trump, get him out of there, and make her the president in his stead. And he said if she becomes VP, that guarantees they're going to take a shot at him.
I got to tell you, we have to put on the table, because Robert Kagan, one of the senior most thinkers in the neocon, vertical, the husband.
There's a lot of columnists at the Washington Post.
Right.
Robert Kagan.
Yeah, it looks like Bannon didn't want to, I don't want to subscribe to the, that she's being put on as a way of setting Trump up for assassination.
For Lee Harvey Oswaldization. The Viper Haley thing, I don't like Nikki Haley. I do think her positions on war are horrendous and terrifying, that she could maybe be the next president. But the idea that she represents a singular sort of threat that they should all get behind, it's she's just useful as an icon for you, I think, basically, because the idea that Trump's going to get in office and not hire hundreds of Nikki Haleys to staff his administration, that's what he did the first time, and that's what he'll do the next time. He's
calling him a neocon. I mean, John Bolton was in the administration.
Exactly.
The number one person I think of when I think of neoconservative is John Bolton. It's all about aesthetics, right? And I guess she's just a little too close to the Republican establishment, so she's a globalist.
I also think there may be other aesthetics that might be an issue for them on the ticket. I mean, because it becomes a lot harder. Yeah, it becomes a lot harder to, Nikki Haley runs into this problem, but it becomes a lot harder to run an anti black and brown, anti-immigrant, their replacing us campaign if you literally have a second generation immigrant who's brown in office, regardless of how much she runs from that.
I mean, apparently she once listed herself as white on her voter registration I saw over the weekend. It's a little bit that's what she's trying to...
Yeah. But again, it's an aesthetics.
Yes.
And, Donald Trump up there, I think they're afraid that will... because I don't think her existence on a ticket is enough for, to the extent that there are anti-Trumpers out there, in the Republican Party to go like, oh, well, at least Nikki Haley's there. She'll be able to corral him any more than, Mike Pence was.